Gentlemen, let me ask you something very personal. Have you ever caught yourself wondering if you still matter? If you still have that spark that can make a woman's heart skip a beat, even after 60, even after 65? I want to tell you something right now. Something that most men your age don't realize. Women notice everything. They notice far more than your hairline, your wrinkles, or the gray in your beard. They notice your presence, the way you carry yourself, the energy you bring into a room. They notice the man behind the years, the man who has lived, who has learned, who has survived, who has thrived. And here's the truth. The things women truly see at this age aren't about your bank account, your car, or the shape of your body. It's about who you are. Inside your skin, how you speak, how you touch, how you make them feel alive, even in fleeting moments. Because at this age, everything superficial fades. What remains is wisdom, confidence, vulnerability, and authenticity. Today, I want to walk you through 3 key things that women notice about men over 60. Not in passing, not superficially, but the subtle, almost invisible qualities that make a woman lean in, stay engaged, and feel drawn to you in ways you might have forgotten were possible. These are the qualities that define attraction after 60. These are the things that separate men who fade into the background from men who are unforgettable. And yes, I will show you exactly how to embody them, cultivate them, and use them to create a magnetic presence that women notice instantly. So, if you are ready to stop fading into the background, if you are ready to reclaim your vitality, your desirability, and your power, then listen closely, because what I am about to share with you may very well change the way you live, love, and connect for the rest of your life. Gentlemen, let's start with something that is more powerful than any suit, any watch, or any trophy you might have accumulated over the years. It's not something you can buy, nor something you can fake for long. It is your confidence. And I am not talking about the confidence that comes from youth, the kind that radiates because your body is strong or your hair is thick. I am talking about a deeper, richer, more refined kind of confidence. The confidence that comes from living your life fully, making mistakes, surviving losses, and embracing who you truly are. At this stage, you see, women notice this immediately. Not because you tell them about it, but because it radiates from your very being. It is in the way you move, the way you look at them, the way you speak and pause, the way you handle silence. There is a subtle power in a man who has lived, who has experienced joy and sorrow, who has built something from nothing, who has known both success and failure. That kind of confidence cannot be manufactured. It is earned. Many men at 65 and beyond carry a shadow of doubt. They think that because their bodies have changed, their energy is no longer what it once was, or that society has placed them out of the arena of attraction, that their desirability is gone. Let me tell you something that may surprise you. Women are not looking for perfection. They are not looking for a man who looks 20 years younger or who performs like he did when he was 50. What they are looking for, even if they don't say it out loud, is the man who owns himself, the man who is comfortable in his own skin, who knows who he is and who doesn't apologize for it. Confidence at this age is different from confidence. What women notice first, it's not your age and youth. It is quieter, steadier, more grounded. It is not the loud confidence that demands attention. It is the subtle confidence that commands respect without asking for it. Women notice the way AI man can walk into a room and simply exist without needing validation from anyone. They notice the way a man can tell a story without exaggeration, without needing to impress, yet somehow captivate everyone listening. This is the kind of presence that is magnetic, and here is where it gets really interesting. Confidence is inseparable from self-acceptance. Women notice a man who has made peace with his past, who carries his history like a badge of honor, not like a chain dragging him down. They notice when a man has embraced both his victories and his failures, who speaks of them with honesty and even a touch of humor. That self-acceptance, that understanding of one's own worth is far more alluring than any physical trait or youthful charm. But confidence is not arrogance. This is a crucial distinction. Many men confuse the two, believing that projecting toughness or insisting on always being right is the same as confidence. It is not. Arrogance pushes people away. It creates distance. True. Confidence invites closeness. It makes women feel safe, appreciated, and intrigued at the same time. It allows for connection without fear of judgment. And it communicates that you are a man who is comfortable being himself unapologetically fully. At this age, confidence also means embracing curiosity. A confident man over 65 is not the man who has stopped exploring life. He is the man who continues to ask questions, to learn, to listen, to engage. Women notice this hunger for life, this refusal to be diminished by age or routine. They notice the sparkle in a man's eyes when he talks about something he loves or when he listens intently to someone else. Confidence is about knowing that life is still rich with possibility, that your story is not over, and that you can still play a meaningful role in someone else's world. Now, let's talk about presence. Presence and confidence are intimately connected. Women notice a man who is fully present, who is not distracted by his phone, by worries about the past, or by anxieties about the future. Presence means that when you are with her or with anyone, you are entirely there. Your body language, your tone of voice, the small gestures that show attentiveness, all of this communicates confidence in a way words cannot. You don't have to tell a woman you are confident. She will feel it in every interaction, in every glance, in every silence that you are comfortable inhabiting. But here's something that often gets overlooked. Confidence at 65 plus also means allowing vulnerability. Yes, vulnerability. The men who are most magnetic to women at this age are often the ones who can say, without hesitation, I don't know, or I was afraid, or I need you. It might sound counterintuitive, but showing that you are human, that you have depth, that you are willing to risk emotional exposure. This is the secret of enduring attraction. Women notice it immediately, even if they cannot articulate it. It signals that you are strong enough to be soft, secure enough to be open, and mature enough to understand that real connection is forged in truth, not pretense. Gentlemen, I want you to reflect for a moment. Think about the women you have known, those who captivated you, those who made your heart race. What was it that drew you to them? Often it wasn't just their appearance or charm, it was their confidence, their certainty, the way they owned their lives and their desires. Now imagine the same principle applied to you. Imagine walking into a room, sitting at the table, engaging in conversation, and knowing fully that your presence alone carries weight. Imagine that women notice the way you are fully alive, fully yourself, and fully unafraid. Confidence is also about knowing your boundaries, warm. And notice men who can say no without guilt, who can assert themselves without presence, confidence, and inner calm. Aggression, who know what they want and are clear about it. This clarity is immensely attractive. It communicates self-respect and invites respect in return. It demonstrates that you are not desperate for validation, that you're not seeking to please everyone, but that you are selective, intentional, and aware of your value. And finally, confidence is about embracing your own story. Every line on your face, every scar on your body, every memory etched into your being contributes to the man you are today. Women notice when a man embraces his past without shame, who can share it with grace, and who can use it to illuminate the present. Confidence at this stage is knowing that you have lived, that you have loved, that you have endured, and that you have still chosen to be fully present in life. That is irresistible. So gentlemen, understand this. Confidence at 65 plus is not about pretending you are younger than you are. It is not about hiding your age or masking your experiences. It is about embracing who you are with honesty, presence, and curiosity. It is about moving through the world with a quiet assurance that you matter, that your life has meaning, and that your presence alone can leave a lasting impression. Women notice this immediately, and it is far more powerful than anything else you can offer. Embrace it, cultivate it, and let it guide how you move, speak, and connect with the world. Gentlemen, let's talk about something that many men underestimate, yet it is often the very thing that makes a woman feel seen, valued, and drawn to you at this age. I'm talking about emotional availability. At 65 and beyond, life has taught you many lessons. You know the taste of success and the sting of loss. You have felt joy, sorrow, triumph, and regret. And yet, far too often, men carry a qui armor, believing that strength is measured by stoicism, that vulnerability is weakness, or that sharing feelings is a luxury reserved for youth. But the truth, the undeniable truth, is that women notice a man who is emotionally present. They notice a man who can truly connect. Emotional availability is not about solving her problems, nor is it about always having the right answer. It is about being able to sit with her fully in the moment, without judgment, without distraction, without rushing to fix or explain. Women notice the man who can listen. Not just hear, but really listen. Who can pause, who can reflect, who can respond with understanding. This kind of connection goes deeper than physical attraction. It reaches into the heart and the soul. Many men at this stage of life have learned to protect themselves, to retreat behind humor, intellect, or independence. There is a certain safety in that distance. Yes, but it comes at a cost. Women sense it immediately when a man is closed off, even if he is charming, even if he is successful. That invisible wall may protect you from disappointment, but it also prevents intimacy. And intimacy, gentlemen, is the currency of attraction. Women notice it, they feel it, and they respond to it in ways that are subtle, profound, and enduring. Being emotionally available does not mean losing your strength or authority. On the contrary, it requires courage. Courage to acknowledge your own feelings, to sit with your own discomfort, and to enter the emotional space of another person without fear. It means you can say, I hear you, or I feel this too, without trying to change it, control it, or dominate it. This is magnetic. This is the kind of presence that women remember, the kind of man who leaves a lasting impression because it is rare. Women notice the small gestures of emotional availability. The way you maintain eye contact, the way you respond to a pause, the way you can hold a conversation that goes beyond facts and logistics into feelings, memories, and dreams. They notice the patience you bring, the quiet understanding, the willingness to stay even when things feel uncomfortable. These are not grand gestures. They are subtle, almost invisible, but they are profoundly compelling. At this stage in life, emotional availability also means being comfortable with your own emotions. Women notice when a man can admit uncertainty, when he can express sadness without shame or joy, without fear of looking vulnerable. They notice when you can cry at a moment that moves you, or laugh at something that delights you, and then return to composure without embarrassment. This emotional fluidity is magnetic because it signals authenticity and courage. It tells women that you are a man who has embraced all aspects of life, who has depth, and who is capable of connecting on levels that many men shy away from. Another aspect of emotional availability is empathy. Women notice when a man can feel alongside them, who can imagine their experience, who can respond not from ego, but from understanding. This is not about sympathy. It is about resonance. It is about tuning into the subtleties of another person's inner world and responding in a way that communicates without words that you care. Empathy, when genuine, can be more seductive than charm, wit, or even physical appearance. And let's be honest, at 65 plus, women are no longer looking for a man who simply fills a role. They are looking for connection, for partnership, for a man who can engage them emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. Emotional availability and real connection. Emotional availability is the bridge to that connection. It allows women to feel seen, to feel safe, and to feel desired. Not in a superficial way, but in a way that honors their full humanity. They notice where a man can create that space. They respond to it. They lean in toward it. And when they do, the bond that forms is far more resilient, far more intimate than anything built solely on appearances or convenience. Now, being emotionally available also requires honesty with yourself. Women notice when a man has not only examined his own feelings, but has worked to understand them, to accept them, and to express them appropriately. This self-awareness is magnetic. It signals that you are capable of growth, capable of reflection, and capable of intimacy. Women notice when a man can say, I don't know how I feel about that yet, or I was wrong, or I wish I had handled that differently. These admissions are not signs of weakness. They are signs of strength, of courage, of a man who has learned that connection matters more than ego. Emotional availability is also about presence in the moment. Women notice when a man is not distracted by regrets from the past, nor consumed by anxieties about the future. When you can sit with her fully, without needing to check your watch, your phone, or your thoughts, that is powerful. It communicates that her presence matters, that the interaction matters, and that you are fully invested in experiencing life as it unfolds. Presence paired with emotional availability is magnetic at any age, but it is especially so at 65 plus, because it demonstrates that you are still engaged, still alive, still capable of deep human connection. At this age, women are often less interested in fleeting infatuation and more interested in substance. They notice men who can discuss feelings, hopes, fears, and dreams without judgment or pretense. They notice men who can handle their own emotions and still hold space for someone else's. They notice men who are curious, attentive, patient, and understanding. And yes, they notice when a man can balance vulnerability with strength, when he can be open without being needy, when he can be present without being intrusive. Finally, emotional availability is not a skill that is suddenly mastered at 65. It is a practice, a commitment, a choice. It requires ongoing self-reflection, courage, and the willingness to be fully human. But the reward is immense. Women notice it. They respond to it. They are drawn to it in ways that transcend looks, status, or history. They are drawn to the men who can meet them in the realm of emotions, who can hold space for intimacy, who can create connection that feels real, alive, and deeply fulfilling. So gentlemen, understand this. Emotional availability is not just an abstract concept. It is a force. It is a magnet. It is the bridge that allows women to see the man you truly are beyond the years, beyond the appearances, beyond the superficial. It is what makes you unforgettable. It is what makes you desirable, and it is what allows the deepest connections, the kind that can transform not only your relationships, but your experience of life itself. Gentlemen, now let's talk about something that might surprise you, something that is far more powerful than any display of wealth, success, or strength. It is the gift of humor and playfulness. At 65 and beyond, many men feel that life has become serious, that every interaction, every conversation must be measured, careful, calculated. Yet women notice the man who can still laugh, the man who can still surprise them with a lightness of spirit, the man who can engage in play without fear of looking foolish. Humor, my friends, is not a trivial thing. It is a profound expression of vitality, intelligence, and emotional agility. Women notice when a man can smile without reservation, when he can make them laugh in a way that is genuine, effortless, and unforced. They notice when he can bring levity into a conversation, when he can turn tension into connection, when he can share a story that evokes laughter without resorting to arrogance or belittlement. Humor at this stage of life is a signal. It signals that you are comfortable with yourself, that you are confident enough not to take everything too seriously, and that you are still engaged in the joy of living. Playfulness is deeply attractive because it reminds women of youth. Not the physical youth that fades with time, but the inner youth, the spark that refuses to be extinguished. Women notice when a man has preserved his spark, when he can approach life with curiosity, wonder, and delight. This is not childishness. It is sophistication of spirit. It is the ability to balance wisdom with lightness, knowledge with spontaneity. It communicates that you are alive, that you are fully present, and that you still have the capacity to create moments of joy. Many men believe that humor is only about telling jokes or clever quips. In reality, humor is about connection, about emotional intelligence, about the ability to read the room and respond in a way that uplifts, surprises, and engages. Women notice when a man can laugh at himself, when he can find the absurdity in everyday life, when he can transform a mundane moment into one of delight. This playfulness communicates resilience. It says, I have lived, I have faced difficulties, and yet I still find reasons to smile. That is magnetic. At 65 plus, women are often looking for a partner who can bring ease and joy into life. They notice men who can create laughter without forcing it, who can engage in banter without competitiveness, who can tease gently without hurting. Playfulness, when combined with maturity, creates a unique form of intimacy. It allows women to feel safe, to relax, and to open up. Humor softens defenses. Humor builds bridges. And humor at its core signals a man who is emotionally healthy, confident, and fully engaged with life. Let me be clear, this does not mean that every moment must be lighthearted or that you must be funny all the time. Humor, playfulness, and emotional ease means that you are capable of balance, that you can honor the seriousness of life without letting it crush your spirit. Women notice the man who can shift effortlessly between depth and levity, who can engage in meaningful conversation, and then without hesitation, bring a moment of laughter. This rhythm, this emotional dance is enchanting. It is memorable. It is what creates connection that lasts. Playfulness also demonstrates creativity and spontaneity. Women notice when a man can surprise them, when he can think beyond the predictable, when he can introduce moments of delight that are unexpected. It might be as simple as a witty comment, a shared joke, a playful challenge, or an unexpected act of kindness that makes her smile. These moments are not superficial. They are windows into your vitality, into your willingness to engage with the world, with curiosity and joy. Women sense this energy, and it draws them in more than anything superficial ever could. Humor and playfulness also communicate security and self-assurance. Women notice men who can handle embarrassment, who can laugh at themselves without defensiveness, who can navigate social situations with ease. This kind of ease signals emotional strength. It signals that you are comfortable with imperfection, your own and others. It signals that you are approachable, relatable, and authentic. Women are drawn to men who are comfortable in their own skin, and humor is one of the most effective ways to communicate that comfort. Think back on your life for a moment. Recall the moments that made you feel most alive, most connected, most present. Chances are laughter played a role. Perhaps it was a shared joke. W. If a friend, a playful moment with a loved one, or a story that left everyone in stitches. These moments are powerful because they create bonds, they dissolve tension, and they remind us of the simple pleasure of being human. Women notice when a man can cultivate these moments. They notice when he can invite them into laughter without agenda, without pressure, without expectation. At this stage in life, playfulness also has a subtle but profound effect on intimacy. Women notice men who can mix humor with sensuality, who can tease and flirt without awkwardness, who can create anticipation without tension. Playfulness makes a man approachable. It reduces fear, fosters connection, and opens the door to emotional and physical intimacy. Women respond to it because it signals emotional intelligence, confidence, and vitality. Let's also acknowledge that humor is a sign of resilience. Life at 65 plus is not without its challenges. There are losses, disappointments, and unexpected turns. Women notice men who can navigate these realities with grace, who can find lightness in darkness, who can keep their spirit intact even in difficult times. Humor in this context is not avoidance, it is mastery. It is the ability to rise above challenges, to transform adversity into connection, to create moments of joy even when life feels heavy. And there is one more subtle layer to this. Women notice the joy you take in the world around you. Humor and playfulness are expressions of engagement with life. Women notice when a man can delight in small things, a shared meal, a funny story, a beautiful sunset. They notice when he can approach life with curiosity and wonder, when he can laugh at the quirks of existence without cynicism. This zest, this liveliness is magnetic. It signals that you are not merely surviving, you are thriving. So, gentlemen, understand this. Humor and playfulness are no trivial traits. They are signs of confidence, emotional intelligence, resilience, and vitality. They signal a man who is fully alive, fully present, and capable of connecting deeply. Women notice them. They feel them. They are drawn to them even when they cannot put their finger on why. A man who can laugh, who can play, who can bring lightness into a world that often feels heavy, is a man who remains irresistible no matter his age. Embrace humor. Embrace playfulness. Let them guide how you interact, how you connect, how you leave an impression. Because in the end, the ability to bring joy, laughter, and lightness into the lives of others is one of the most enduring forms of attraction there is. Gentlemen, now let's explore a quality that often goes unnoticed, yet it is one of the most powerful magnets of all: authenticity and integrity. At this stage of life, many men believe that attraction is about status, appearances, or the ability to impress. But women notice something far deeper. They notice a man who is genuine, a man whose words match his actions, a man who lives in alignment with his values. Authenticity is a quiet but powerful force. It draws people in because it communicates trust, reliability, and emotional depth. Women are perceptive. They can sense pretense immediately, even when it is wrapped in charm, humor, or confidence. They notice when a man is trying too hard to be someone he is not, when he is performing, when he's tailoring himself to what he thinks they want. And while such performances might work temporarily, they never create real connection. Authenticity, on the other hand, is magnetic. It signals that you are comfortable in your own skin, that you do not need constant approval, and that you are willing to show the world exactly who you are, including your imperfections. At 65 plus, authenticity takes on a profound significance. Life has given you experience, perspective, and hopefully wisdom. Women notice when a man has embraced all of it, when he does not shy away from his past or try to rewrite it to appear more appealing. They notice when he shares his story honestly, when he can speak about his triumphs and failures with the same calmness and acceptance. Authenticity is not about perfection. It is about honesty. And there is nothing more attractive than a man who can tell the truth about himself without defensiveness. Integrity is inseparable from authenticity. Women notice when a man's actions align with his words. Integrity is living in a way that matches your principles, showing consistency over time and demonstrating reliability. At this age, women are looking for a partner they can trust, someone whose promises are more than words, whose commitments are more than rituals, whose presence is more than convenience. They notice when a man acts from a place of honesty, not obligation. When he does what he says he will do, not for recognition, but because it is right. Being authentic also means being willing to be seen as you truly are. Women notice when a man is comfortable, showing vulnerability, admitting mistakes, or acknowledging his limitations. There is no weakness in this. On the contrary, it is a display of inner strength. When a man can say,